I do a lot of thinking when I walk in the morning. And one morning, it was very cold. I was walking along thinking about what I wanted to talk with you about tonight. And I was all bundled up because it was so cold. It was 19 degrees out. And as I walked along thinking about framing my talk for you, I came upon a man who was wearing Bermuda shorts. And as we passed by one another, I looked at him and smiled and said, "Shorts?" And he smiled back and he said, "It's all in the mind." And that really struck me. There's a lot that's all in our minds, even about longevity. What do you think about longevity? Have you thought about it, or have you only thought about getting old, about aging, and about falling apart? Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but we have a lot of language out there today that suggests to us that growing older is not a positive experience. We have a number of myths about that. Suggestions that if we have an ache or a pain in our body, it's probably because we're getting older, when that's actually a myth. The reality is, if we have an ache or a pain, we've done something or haven't done something. Maybe we haven't moved enough, or maybe we've eaten inflammatory foods, or maybe we have an injury. There's a reason why we have pain. And so I don't want you to leave here tonight thinking that because you're getting older, you're automatically going to fall apart. I'd like you instead to think about your thought process around growing older and the messages you hear from your own mind, but also from your doctor, from your neighbors, from your family. What are these messages saying to you or suggesting to you? And how much potentiality for lifelong wellness is built into those messages? It's really important because, as we all know, our thoughts become real. Whatever our thoughts are, 9 times out of 10 are manifested in reality. So we want to really stop and think about that. I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on in growing older in America. Did you know that today 10,000 people, 10,000 Americans are turning 65 every single day? That's a lot of people. And so collectively, whatever the attitude is around growing older is going to ripple down to all of us. So we have to really listen and see what we're hearing, and then see what we're thinking, what we conclude about the experience of growing older, so that we have some idea about how to perceive it, how to perceive ourselves. Today's 50, as they say, is yesterday's 40. And we've been very blessed in the sense that we have many, many opportunities to be younger, live younger. But it's not that holy grail that we look 30 when we're 60. Anybody can do that with cosmetic surgery. But it's, how do we feel? How do we live? How do we respond to life around us? What makes us feel alive? And you might be thinking, well, you know what? My dad had heart disease, or my mom has diabetes. So, that's going to happen to me too. Well, I look at that as good information, information that you in your family may have a tendency toward a particular illness or disease. But that's only information. And it can be very helpful in guiding you toward preventing that kind of condition from occurring in your own body. Did you know that only 30% of our life outcome comes from our genetics? The other 70% comes from our lifestyle. So that gives us a lot of potential to make the changes that perhaps our parents or grandparents didn't make. I want to use the analogy for a moment of a car. So I'm somebody who keeps my car for a good 10 years, even longer, as long as it's running well. My parameter is it's running well and it's reliable. I don't care about having the latest model. Well, as we age, we're not the latest model either, but I want to be a good model. I want to be somebody who feels good. And so how do we do that with our cars? We change the oil, we put quality gasoline in the car, we wash the car, we keep it clean, we have it checked for our brakes, and we rotate our tires. We do a lot of things. And you can look at one car and say, wow, now that's a car that's been well cared for. And you can look at another and say, oh, nobody's been thinking very much about that car, and it's probably not long for this world. We're a little bit like that too. Imagine if you were putting junk food in your body all of your life, and you were relying on that to keep you well. What do you think would happen? Probably not much good, because we need food. Food becomes us. It becomes our cells, our very life. And so just like the car that needs good gas and good oil, we need good food. And we need some other things too that I'll talk about in a few minutes. My expertise is twofold. I work a lot around stress and I work a lot around food. To me, those are vital areas in terms of maintaining our wellness. And how many of you are stressed? I know, it's a busy, crazy world today. We have a lot going on. And I think if we didn't experience a little bit of stress, it might be because we're not involved enough. We're not engaged enough. So stress isn't always bad. It's just when it gets out of hand. So I think about 3 aspects to stress: recognize it, relieve it, and redirect it. So what do I mean by recognize it? Are your shoulders going slowly up as the day progresses because you're getting more and more tense? Is your breathing getting shallow? Are you having difficulty sleeping? Are you irritable? Can you not think very clearly? You're forgetting a lot of things. Or are you relying on caffeine and other stimulants to keep you going because you're just not sleeping well, you're not functioning well, you're not happy? Recognize those things and then take a step back and think, what is it that's going on that's making me feel that way? And how can I shift? What can I get off my plate? What can I ask for help with? What are the things that I can change? So you recognize it and you relieve it. You relieve it in some practical ways, and you also relieve it by some kind of practice. All of us can benefit from body work. Any kind of body work, chiropractic, massage, shiatsu, acupuncture, all of those kinds of body work can be very therapeutic. I don't look at them as luxuries. I look at them as a part of a wellness plan. So think about what kind of wellness plan you'd like to design to keep your body in check, to keep that awareness of how your body is functioning, and to maximize what you have to work with. Rely on good practitioners. They'll help you. They're committed to your health as much as you are. And it's a partnership. So those are some practical things that you can do. And finally, in the redirecting part, what I mean by that is think about how you can offload your stress. You might be somebody who does great with running. You want to just get out there and move, move, move. Or you might be someone who wants yoga or who wants to meditate and be prayerful or walk in nature. Think about what it is that benefits you and makes you feel good so you can take that stress that's built up and redirect it. Another beautiful way to do that is to do some volunteer work. Do some acts of kindness. It's a great stress buster. So now on to my other favorite topic, and that's food. We have a nation of poor eaters. How many people today do not sit down at their table to eat a meal? How many people don't eat with their families today or don't even eat meals? How many people eat in restaurants? The experience of eating at home is transformative for many, many reasons. You have an opportunity to nest, to be in your home, to be out of the noise of the outside world, to be aware of and prepare your own food. Food that's real, not food that is manufactured in some factory and presented on a plastic plate in a fast food restaurant or in a styrofoam container. I'm talking about real food. Now, sometimes people will ask me, what is real food? What do you mean by that? And what I mean by that is food that is grown in some way and does not have any additives, anything that is not real. So I'll give you an example. Here's a sweet potato, a fabulous food, easy to bake, really effortless to bake. This is a nice organic one. It takes maybe a half hour to cook in a high oven of 400. Open it up and it's pure heaven. That is a real food. Another real food that's very portable is an orange. You can take an orange with you anywhere. It's filling, it's nourishing, it has fiber in it. And the other part about real food is when you choose organic, you're not getting any pesticides, you're not getting food that's grown in soil that has chemical fertilizers. You're getting the best of Mother Nature. So here's a real food. Now I'll show you what's not a real food. Fiber One. I find this product so offensive because of the labeling on it. You would think this was a dream come true. 35% of your daily value of fiber. Best Life seal of approval. Oats and chocolate. Fabulous. But it's not. The fiber, believe it or not, comes from chicory root. There are so many ingredients, you can't really see them on the video, but the ingredients are mostly chemicals, including shellac. I have been familiar with shellac on floors, to finish floors, but I don't think I want that in my body. So There's a simple distinction between real